Hello everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the 30-day challenge. I'm going to turn down my volume just a hair. Sorry, this is my first day. I don't know if it's as loud for you as it is in my headphones. So I'm going to take off my headphones and hope that fixes it. Today I'm trying. Today's my first live stream, so if it goes off the rails, that's why. But to help you see what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch over to my webcam. Alrighty, so everyone, I have these bags, and they're divided into genre, random objects, subgenre, and then obviously location. And so basically what I'm going to do in this hour and a half to 2 hour live stream is my goal is I'm worried that I'm echoing to you guys and not just in my head. How about now? Okay, this sounds way better. Okay, sorry, I had a voice mod on and I was worried that it was echoing for you guys. Let me know in the live comments if I am. So basically what's going to happen, and the reason why I have these bags, is it's kind of similar to Scenes from a Hat, if any of you guys are familiar with improv. But instead of, going off of what I pull out, it's for story writing. And eventually I'm hoping to develop the amount of skills so I can just talk to you and then live time be able to use my Stream Deck and improv a story off the top of my head and just use my fingers to highlight the different ideas going off. But you have to train up to that level, and I don't feel like I'm there yet. And since you guys are following my screen, I can basically... Let's go over to Lumix. So basically, if you go over here, this is my live stream. I have this set up like this, so that's how I'm being able to flash around and why my Logitech webcam pops in and out. I have my iPhone and iPad, and I'll use that in the future, but I was worried because based on this, I wanted to make sure everything ran well. And then I'll go over, and I have sound effects, I have custom voice mods, and then I have some music. And basically what's going to happen at the end of this video is the goal is at the end of this video, after I've written the story, is to read it out again, the entire thing, for you guys to enjoy. But I'll do it with sound effects, custom voice mods, and music. And we'll see how that turns out. But I love behind the scenes, and when I go back in to edit the video, I might be able to show you guys. You can just jump to see the finished product. But I enjoy behind the scenes and seeing how something's created, and in improv, it's made on the spot. And my brain, I started my acting career in improv, so I've always been fascinated by it. So I'm hoping to get back to that point. But let's just dive right in, and while I'm doing this, I'll have a Word document up, and so, gosh, I'm so nervous because this is the first live stream I've done since the beginning of September, like a month ago. So basically right now I'm going to shuffle. I'm not going to go on this one because I haven't explained it yet. And this microphone from Elgato is really well because you guys can hear the crinkle of this plastic bag, which I find very impressive. Right now I have subgenre, and then I'm going to start off with location though. So here we go, and then I'm opening it because it won't shuffle if it's closed. Oh. Okay, so location. Where are we putting this story in? It will be in space. Okay. That's a lot of pressure. Okay, and then and the reason why I'm writing it down is because I don't want to lose any of them. So now it's back in the bag. We're done with space. And now let's move over to genre. And there are not that many major genres. Usually a lot of the other stuff that's fun to do are subgenres. And so the fun part of doing it this way is I could have a horror but then I could somehow have a romantic comedy, and that's an interesting challenge. And I have thriller and suspense. So a space, thriller, and suspense mixed with something else. Okay. Alrighty. Suspense. And with this, if it gets popular enough and people actually join me on the live stream, the reason why it reminds me of improv and why I got the idea from Scenes from a Hat is it also seems fun if I just shout out like a location and somebody puts in the chat and I go off based like that. I'm gonna check in every now and then just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's go to. Let's go here for a little bit. The objects, didn't mean to do random objects next, but the object we will be placing somewhere in the entire story is a chair. And in a thriller and suspense story, I'm sure that will be extremely difficult because there aren't chairs literally in every single movie, book, or, and life. Alrighty, so chair. And that's why I said it's funner with people, because then when it's a chair, I can just, do, okay. Thriller and suspense subgenre being magical magical realism. And for those of you who don't know what that is, which is why it's interesting, is 13 Reasons Why on Netflix. I'm not sure if the book is in the same way. I mean, I'm sure it is, because if he's seeing Hannah Baker after she's died, then that's more magical realism. So basically, if I based it in space and there were astronauts and then a catastrophe happened, and I guess this is what's happening now, because it's thriller and suspense, and they're all trying to find it, and the person giving them the clues is the person that died. That's magical realism, because obviously somebody who's died can't actually really give somebody these clues. So it's surreal. I thought it was called surrealism, but I guess it might be realism. It's kind of more in that vein. It's kind of what they do in Desperate Housewives, because the first episode, one of the main characters dies, and that show is 8 seasons, and she goes on to narrate the entire thing as if she has any stakes left in this community. And which is why I love it, because it's a satire, and I love those kind of narrative, almost book-like shows. Okay, so as I said, I have to go back and make sure this is on, and I am checking in to make sure we're all here. So basically, as I said, I'm going to go in and I'm going to start writing. I'm going to try speak writing because I don't want it to be silent as I'm typing. It's improv. It's whatever is on top of my brain, because the worst enemy of improv is judgment. The more you judge yourself, the worse you will be at improv, because it's supposed to be about yes-anding. It's probably not the best way to write a book, but I just really also want to develop my mental skills from my book writing, and this felt like the perfect mix of the both things that I love. And I also really have started liking programming because of Stream Deck. So I have my iPhone up, but it's not working. But in order to help and make sure everything's going smoothly with all you guys online, I'm going to make my iPhone this thing. I'm going to make the live chat checkers so I can make sure. Sorry, your channel. I just want to make sure that I'm gonna make my iPhone. I just wanted to make sure that if anybody comments in the live stream that I'm on it and I can see it in my peripheral of my vision. Alright, so here we go. I'm very tempted just to start off in some corny Star Wars way. Okay, so here we go. Alrighty. I'm gonna actually set a timer because I don't want it to be going on for me just trying to finish a story. It's about trying to allow your brain to accept the fact that everything in your head is going to be perfect. So I'm gonna also set a timer for, I'm gonna say 10 minutes, and after that 10 minutes, I won't read it. So after that 10 minutes, I will read. Oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? So 10 minutes is for writing, and then I will allow myself 10 minutes to go into the programming of the story so I can get all the cues. Anybody who's been in theater before knows that you go and do the cues for it, and from there, sorry, I am having a day I cannot tell you. Because basically when you're on theater and you're doing like live improv or a live show, you have these cues for the theater tech. So that way if you're yelling and then it's supposed to fade to black, I have all that stuff in there. And so I would probably be like, okay, what kind of music do I have programmed that I can put as a background tone for this story? And then what kind of voice do I want to use? It would be even fun if I had like a narrative voice and then I had like a voice for each of the characters. And then at the end is when I would just read it after we set all that stuff up. So that way we're all in it and we're all ready. In the future, I might actually also add like a vote. Do you want me to write it as a narrative story? Do you want me to write it as a poem? Do you want me to write it as a screenplay? And for the voice thing, screenplay would work a lot more because it's mostly more into the dialogue realm than stories are. So here we go. Alrighty, so I just want to make sure that everything is set. I'm going to switch you guys over to my webcam just because my computer's over here and I don't want you guys to be not looking directly at me. That seems weird. There I am. Alrighty. Here we are. Okay. Judith did not want to be here. But how could she have known her pod would open after 50 years of deep space travel? I forgot to start the timer, and that's an important step because I don't want to go too far. Open after 50 years of deep space travel. What's even worse was it seemed she was the only one. The corridors flushed and clean. I don't know what flush means. The corridors flushed and clean like a pristine hospital pressed in on her as she stumbled down the hallway. Ooh, the suspense. That's gonna drive me crazy. I have to fix it. I don't like spaces between paragraphs. The thing was, her pod hadn't even been in the bay when it opened. She'd woken in a room. She'd woken in a broom shed. Oh my god, do we even have brooms in the future? She'd woken in an abandoned room all by herself. Now all she could do was hope the others were still here, because the others is very thriller and suspense-esque. The others were still here. Hello? Is anyone there? Not to, yeah, I'm not defending my writing. Hello, is anyone there? Judith screamed. Hoping to hear anything besides her own feet slapping against the cold, smooth surface of the spacecraft. A little bit of background information to me for all you guys out there is this is why improv is improv. I'm not really the best at space stuff. I don't like space, but I can't defend that because I have 7 minutes, so we're gonna go back in. Smooth surface of the spacecraft. Over here came a gruff voice at the other end of the hallway. His entire body cloaked in shadow as it collapsed against the wall. His bicep, much like a boa constrictor, the same size as a boa constrictor, held his torso. Something had happened, and Judith was not at all interested in finding out what that something might be. Who are you? Oh, this is fun. Her voice sounded braver than she felt. Her legs instinctively carrying her towards the man, obviously in pain, rather than the exit she so yearned for. It turned out as she grew closer that she had been right to want to run away. Blood was pooling around the man, his chest heaving as his breaths filled the air. It only then struck her how weird it was not to hear the familiar thrum of the space engine propelling them along. What had happened in her sleep? You have to find somebody. She didn't much feel like telling him that the only person she had come, oh, that was dangerous to come across, come across thus far was him. He already looked beat down enough. What happened? So she settled for asking him what happened. That's how you work. That's how you work around dialogue. I woke up in... I'm in... My people are in charge for tending to the ponds until we arrive in Sifu. Yeah. Until we arrive in Sifu. My people are in charge of tending to the pods until we arrive in Sifu. I woke up and they were gone. And the engine burst. A pipe. A pipe ripped through my chest when it exploded. Yeah, that's what's happening. With this, every few words, he grunted. His lungs struggling to find enough air to speak. And so they just abandon us? I don't know if they had time to clear anyone. Clearly, I wasn't in any state. Clearly, I wasn't in any state to ask questions. Judith felt guilty for pressing him. But if they were gone and she was the only awake, if she was the only one awake on a ship doomed to explode, then why had someone pulled her away from the others? Why indeed? Where's the medical bay? She thought to ask, if nothing else, to ease, if only to ease. Oh my god, that was a quick 10 minutes. We're gonna do another 5. I think 15 is better. I think that was too fast, so we're gonna do 15. Where's the medical bay? She thought to ask, if only to ease his suffering. Back the way you came. I was trying to get there. I'll try to find something to help. With that, with a worried glance down at his wounds, Judith spun around and quickly round down the corridor, hoping she'd actually find someone to help him, because she hadn't the slightest idea how to stop internal bleeding. Oh, give me a second. Because she hadn't the slightest idea how to stop internal bleeding. Because she hadn't the slightest idea how to stop internal bleeding. And didn't feel like the man deserved to be her cadaver for the day. She rounded the corner. The ship cascaded sideways, and she flew into a wall, stumbling to the ground, narrowly avoiding a banister to the face. Banister to the face as she hit the ground. Pushing to her elbows, she looked around to see what caused the commotion. Something dark flew across the empty space in front of her. Much too fast for a human. Much too fast for a human. The idea of going after it terrified her, but so did letting the guy die. Perhaps whatever person or creature this was would know what caused the ship to malfunction. But as she pelted after it in the dark, the air seemed to press in all around her like a pillow. They say space is just an expanse. They say space is just a dark expanse. But the darkness pressing her in felt corporeal somehow, like something lurked beneath the surface. Okay, that's better. Okay, see? I wrote a little thing. It's to help build my creative brain. It could be better, it could be terrible. I don't know, but the whole point is exercise. And here's the other thing I'm trying to do with this, is everyone is like, you have to be perfect to post stuff. But you don't have to be perfect. The whole point of life is it's a journey and you're supposed to perfect your skills. And so if you end up at the end and you're the same as you began, I feel like, what a waste of life. Like, I would hope that I would improve over time, no matter with how much I was good or bad at something. If you're always the same no matter what, it doesn't feel very fulfilling if you can't grow. And like I said, this is the first time, and I'm doing this in short spouts because I was trying to trigger and not judge my brain, so that way when I eventually try to do this without having the paper and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, then no judgment. It'll just be fun and crazy and yeah. Okay. So now we have this, and we'll have one side. I'm going to shrink it. And then I'm going to create another side. And this will be just so I can follow the notes. And right now I'm going to pull this up and we're going to play some music, and I'm going to decide, and all this music is royalty free because it's string deck, it's for live footage. I just happened to be using it for a live this instead of gaming, which is people associate with this, but this is what I want to work on, so that's how I'm using it. So there. Alrighty, so we're going into storytelling, audio mixer, music. Well, it's kind of horror, but I don't know if it's... Oh. That's not long enough, but that's a good one. No. Okay, it's not long enough. There's ambient music. Yeah. It's showing? Oh, I'm sorry. I would have been saying them out loud, but I thought it showed you. Maybe if I click here? No, so I've been playing and testing. I would have been saying it. Zombie City vibe is this one. And it fits the most right now, but I'm going to try a couple. I'm trying the True Crime X-Files vibe. I might end it with, like, the last part. I might start this happening. So, like... music, last page, True Crime, X-Files, first page. I'm gonna go with zombie because it has a very like dystopian vibe, but it doesn't sound like Walking Dead 100%. It kind of feels like I've woken up and it's kind of ambient. It kind of reminds me of like Alice when she wakes up in the hospital by herself. I didn't do that intentionally, but I was like, yeah, that's kind of the vibe. Zombie City vibe. So we got the music, and then from there I'm going to go over the story and fill it in slowly. Okay. So let's go over the voice. Well, the voice is easy. I have this fun voice sound effect. It's a voice mod, and then it just changes you to a woman. Oh, it's supposed to. Hello. Oh. Hello. Yeah, see? Judith. I now sound like a woman. Yeah. Okay. So Judith will be this voice. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Judith, man to woman. And then... hello? 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 Hi. What do you want? Hello? Hello? Nope. Hello? What up? Nope. Hello? 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 Okay. There's one that I found. Okay. This is kind of what I was looking for. I wanted one because I was imagining the guy in like a helmet, so the guy will have speech finder. And if you go back, I don't know why it goes on and off. Speech finder. Yeah, this. And then Judith will be man to woman. Yeah. See? That's fun. We have the characters' voices. Back to my voice. And then we have an explosion. I'm gonna try to see in my stream deck. I have sound effects, so I'm trying to see if there's any sounds. There's cartoon and none of these look like explosions. There's this one, but it's not the vibe I'm going for. Okay. It's satisfying for the last part. Oh wait. This is the explosion, this one right here. Okay. Ship explode cartoon dynamite. And then I want a narrative voice. So I feel like with those three things. Voice mods. Hello. Hello. How's it going? Hello. 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 Cave. I mean, I can go with the sound of like. Because it's a chamber in like a long room that she's walking in. I can narrate this. Okay, so narrative cave. Okay. And we're how long in? Cool. Oh, well, I'm sorry if you said something somewhere. Okay, good. I was just worried because apparently I wasn't playing it live anymore. And here we go. Alrighty. First we start the music. Judith did not want to be here. But how could she have known her pod would open after 50 years of deep space travel? What's even worse was it seemed she was the only one. The corridors, flushed and clean, like a pristine hospital, pressed in on her as she stumbled down the hallway. The thing was, her pod hadn't even been in the bay when it opened. She'd woken in an abandoned room all by herself. Now all she could do was hope the others were still here. Hello? Is anyone there? Judith screamed, hoping to hear anything beside her own feet slapping against the cold, smooth surface of the spacecraft. Oh. Over here! Came a gruff voice at the other end of the hallway, his entire body cloaked in shadow as it collapsed against the wall. His bicep, the same size as a boa constrictor, held his torso. Something had happened, and Judith was not at all interested in finding what that something might be. Who are you? Her voice sounded braver than she felt, her legs instinctively carrying her towards the man obviously in pain, rather than the exit she yearned for. It turned out as she grew closer that she had been right to want to run away. Blood was pooling around the man, his chest heaving as his breaths filled the air. It only then struck her how weird it was not to hear the familiar thrum of the space engine propelling them along. What had happened in her sleep? You have to find somebody. She didn't feel like telling him that the only person she had come across thus far was him. He already looked beat down enough, so she settled for asking him what happened. My people are in charge for tending to the paws until we arrive in Sifu. I woke up and they were gone, and the engine burst. A pipe ripped through my chest when it exploded. With this, every few seconds he grunted, his lungs struggling to find enough air to speak. And so they just abandoned us? I don't know if they had time to clear anybody. Clearly, I wasn't in the state to ask questions. Judith felt guilty for pressing him, but if they were gone, and she was the only one awake on a ship doomed to explode, then why had somebody pulled her away from the others? Where's the medical bay? She thought to ask, if only to ease his suffering. Back the way you came. I was trying to get there. I'll try to find something to help. With a worried glance down at his wounds, Judith spun around and quickly ran down the corridor, hoping she'd actually find someone to help him, because she hadn't the slightest idea how to stop internal bleeding, and didn't feel like the man deserved to be her cadaver for the day. As she rounded the corner, the ship cascaded sideways as she flew into a wall, stumbling to the ground. Narrowly avoiding a banister to face as she hit the ground, pushing to her elbow, she looked around to see what caused the commotion. Oh my God. None of these are helpful sound effects. Something dark flew across the empty space in front of her, much too fast for a human. They kept going after it, terrified, but so did letting the guy die. Perhaps whatever person or creature this was would know what caused the ship to malfunction. But as she pelted after it in the dark, the air seemed to press in all around her like a pillow. They say space is just dark expanse, but the darkness pressing her in felt corporeal somehow, like something lurked beneath the surface. Okay, we will allow this to just vibe out for a little bit longer. I'm going to camera overlays. There we go. Okay, everyone, so it's 42 minutes in and 45 seconds. I might allow the writing time to be 20 minutes next time, but I've been wanting to do this for a couple of weeks, and I've been programming, and that's what I was showing you, is all the programming aspect. With 20 minutes, obviously the read-through would be a little longer, or I might not. I was actually surprised even how the planning went faster than I thought it would. Sorry, now we're back to my normal voice. We're no longer talking like we're in a cave, or like we're a woman, or like we're a space cadet. We're just Camron. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I feel like it would be more enjoyable with more people and like commenters, because then I can actually ask you questions, and then I can be like, and then what happened, and then you guys can throw in something random. But that's down the road, and I'm not to the point of being 100% improv yet, so I'm not going to be 100% bad. The purple light, it's opposite. So the purple light is, there we go, is there for a vibe, mood setting. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really actually liked how easy my brain was just allowing things to happen. I tell people a lot that, like, when you first start writing, and especially when you stop writing because of writer's block, you start judging yourself a lot harder when you start writing. So I just learned that if I just accept that everything is trash, then nothing bad can happen, you know? Because if you go in thinking it's going to be a masterpiece, it makes it harder to write it because you're judging it so much. And if you just judge yourself a little less, it makes life easier. I want to get into improv again, and that's kind of also why I like the story, because I'm like, well, if I can start with like just writing something and then letting it go, because in the next video we're not going to know what happened to Judith. We're not going to get a part 2. Obviously, down the road, if I have more people watching and they really enjoy these, I can take a vote before we end the live stream and be like maybe once a month, or we'll have a story that goes for the entire time and then a story that's just there and done. But that's also what I think will be more fun, because then you're in here for the moment and then you're gone. And with that, if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, because it will allow this to spread to more people. And not only that, but everyone assumes you have to do something a certain way. A stream deck is assumed to be for gaming. I did one gaming video, but until I can get a better computer, I'm not really concerned with doing gaming stuff right now. But I'm using OBS Studios because it allows for one, multi-camera uses, so it's like a quicker cut, and it saves time in Adobe Premiere Pro later on in the future. And the reason why I wanted the thumbs up, because if you spread it, then I feel like it will encourage creativity, because everyone feels like you have to be at 100 to be on YouTube, or 100 to be into anything. But like, even if you like Rhett and Link from Good Mythical Morning, they tell you that their early videos were not as good as the videos they're doing now, because it's all about trial and error. You learn from the past, and if you didn't try something, you don't know what you don't like doing, and you don't know what does that you're doing that's going well. I'm considering doing ASMR, because this microphone picks up everything. Like, oh, like you can hear this, and that's the paper from the bags. Yeah, and I'm really glad I went through with this, because I was judging myself for doing this, but I was like, I've never tried, I'm never going to know if I enjoyed it. And it also makes Saturday easier and funner for me. Easier and more fun for me. We're writing. I don't want to encourage bad grammar. And I want to get back into my writing as well as my acting and creativity. I don't do voices that much. And there was a time in my life where I just loved doing voices for stories. And so I'm like, well, if I can just get back in and allow my brain to use the muscles I've been preventing it because of my depression, then maybe everything will go for everyone. My follow-up is, I showed up for myself today by doing this. Hopefully, if you guys can find something like this you guys can do, and you guys can show up for yourselves as well, because showing up for yourself just means doing the things that we deem as hard, because a lot of the times it's the most beneficial thing that we can do in our lives. And it wasn't perfect. I had some mistakes, but I had fun because I didn't judge myself for the mistakes. I problem solved. And there's always going to be mistakes. Life isn't perfect. We're not computers. We're not robots. Those are the same thing. I don't know why I repeated it. But I appreciate you guys for watching. If you want to follow the 30-day challenge, feel free to subscribe. This is day 2. Tomorrow I'll do day 3. I'm doing commentary and react to the Halloween movies. I haven't done them, and it's kind of similar to this, so I was like, I'll try this new thing. It was a lot more hard than I thought it was going to be, so I'm now going to fix that and be better and still release them, but that's why there was a little rearranging to the schedule I posted. All the stuff will still get posted in October, but some of the stuff needs more time to edit, because I reacted to like basically 4 hours because 2 movies, and I was trying to edit, and I was like, that is a lot of stuff. I can't do this on day 1, so I'll push video back just so everything gets done, and it's good quality content. And that's it. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time. Show up for yourselves. Show up for yourself, but in a nice way. Don't show up by hating yourself. That's not showing up. I don't know why I went into therapy, mumbo jumbo. Yeah. Thank you guys, and I'll see you.